Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, loyal friends and partners. My name is Joy Cawthorn, and I serve as the Chief Development Officer for the Southeastern Pennsylvania region of the American Red Cross. It is my privilege to welcome you to our second spring virtual speaker series event entitled Volunteer Services, Be the You in Volunteer. This presentation will share how the Red Cross is making an impact in the communities we serve throughout Southeastern Pennsylvania. Before we begin, I would like to share a few participant tips with you. This presentation is being recorded, so please stay on mute to reduce echoes and background noise. If you hear an echo, please lower your volume slightly. To keep our presentation within the allotted time, we will not have a live question and answer session. So I encourage you to email or call your Red Cross contact that invited you to today's event with any questions or requests for more information. Thank you. So I am excited to introduce to you our presenters for today, Monica Wiles and Tracy Howard. Ms. Tracy Howard proudly serves as a Red Cross blood donor ambassador. She has volunteered in her community since her early teens and is committed to helping those in need. Ms. Howard is a proud Diamond Life member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and she is a charter member of the Valley Forge Alumni Chapter. Over the years, Tracy has been involved with the Mayor's Commission on Literacy, Babashi, Philadelphia's District Attorney's Youth Aid Panel, and Girl Scouts Troop 928, AARP, as well as the American Red Cross. Tracy is a retired U.S. probation officer for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, and she was recognized for starting the Community Service Committee that conducted food drives, clothing, and toy drives for women's shelters. Ms. Howard is a firm believer in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., everyone can be great because everyone can serve. Ms. Monica Wiles is a senior volunteer recruitment specialist for the American Red Cross of Southeastern Pennsylvania. Prior to joining the American Red Cross, Monica was a career educator and program manager for the New Jersey Juvenile Justice Commission, where she taught in juvenile detention centers and nonprofit organizations for over 15 years. Additionally, Ms. Wiles taught sociology and counseling at Rowan College of Burlington County in New Jersey. Since 2018, Monica has served on the board of directors of the Rainy Day Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to mentorship, scholarship, and service for first-generation college students from underprivileged communities. Monica is a proud Army mom and HBCU grad, as she holds a master's degree in human services from Lincoln University and is a proud member of Pi Gamma Mu. Without further ado, join me in welcoming Miss Monica Wiles.
Thank you so very much for that, Joy. And hello and welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for taking a moment out of your day to actually join us for this information session. We're going to give you a lot of great information. And if you have any questions, please do write them down, and I'm going to share some contact information with you at the end of the presentation, and you'll be able to email and or call to get those questions answered or even to have a further conversation. So let's get started, okay? All right, so why do volunteers matter? This entire presentation is going to give you the answer to this very question. Why do volunteers matter? And more importantly, why volunteers matter at the American Red Cross. What exactly does it mean to be the you in volunteer? Next slide, please. So, to understand why volunteers really matter with the American Red Cross, or I should say at the American Red Cross, it's very simple. We base it upon two very important things, our mission and our fundamental principles. As you can see here, the mission of the American Red Cross is to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. Next slide, please. In addition to that, we have 7 key fundamental principles that each and every Red Crosser embodies, and this guides us to fulfilling our mission. That is humanity, impartiality, neutrality, independence, unity, and universality. And you may say, Monica, why did you skip over volunteer service? It's because I want to place emphasis on this very fact. 90% of the workforce at the American Red Cross is comprised of volunteers. That means that without the generosity and the power of our volunteers, we cannot fulfill the mission and we cannot serve the communities that we serve in the way that we do so at all without volunteers. So that's why volunteers are so important and truly matter here at the American Red Cross. Our organization is because of volunteers, such as yourself. Next slide, please. So, with that being said, the way in which we fulfill our mission is through our lines of services. And we actually have 5 lines of services that we share or we serve the mission, if you will, and we have some support services that uphold those lines of services as well. I'm going to highlight or bring emphasis to a few of these. I'm going to introduce you to them all because one of the things that I find is when I go out into the community and I ask, what do you know about the Red Cross? Most people respond, you guys do blood. Yes, we do. But we also do so much more in addition to blood services. So some of those things include, I'll start with disaster cycle services. We actually help the community in 3 areas of disaster services. That's preparedness, response, and recovery. So many of you may have seen Red Cross volunteers or workers or the Red Cross itself at different locations of disaster, such as a fire or a hurricane or a tornado. In the aftermath, you may have seen or heard on the news or on television where Red Cross has opened or assisted with the operation of a shelter. That's all that we do in response and recovery at the Red Cross. But we also help with preparedness. And one of those ways that I love sharing that the community doesn't really know all the time is that we actually educate young people with our pillowcase projects. We go into elementary schools and we teach young people how to prepare in times of disaster because they need to know as well. In addition to that, we have our Homes Made Safer campaign our home fire safety campaign where we go into homes and into communities and we share how to remain safe in times of disaster, how to prepare so that if it should strike, you don't have to figure it out later. You already have a plan in place. In addition to that, we have teams that go into homes and actually assist with installing smoke alarms. So this is one of the ways in which we assist in disaster cycle services. We have many other supports in that area, but I just wanted to touch on that very briefly. In addition, as we stated, the blood services, we have our biomedical services. And yes, we do have blood drives where we collect blood from blood donors. If you are a blood donor, we say thank you. You are saving lives, and that is so critical and so crucial. In addition to that, the blood has to get to area hospitals as well as from those blood drives. So we also operate in that area. And then we have support services for biomedical services. Many of you may have seen our building at 7th and Spring Garden. That building actually also has a lab inside of it, which is really cool to actually be able to witness the process that we go through to make sure that the blood is safe and that it reaches its destination as needed. Another area that's very near and dear to my heart, as Joy stated, I am an Army mom. My daughter is in the Army, and we have service to the armed forces. So we help military members and their families, as well as veterans. We provide various services for this community, and a lot of people don't know about that. We do a lot in this area, and we definitely have a great need in that area as it relates to communications, support, and even resiliency for our military members. Moving right along, we have training services and international services. I highlighted these in yellow because we don't necessarily recruit volunteers for this area, but it is an important area or line of service to help us fulfill the mission of alleviating suffering in times of disaster. So one of the things is training services. Some of you may have taken advantage of our CPR and first aid training, or our babysitting or lifeguard training. We offer all of those trainings through our training services line of service. In addition, we have international services where we assist in immunizations, global initiatives, as well as restoring family links. Next slide, please. So with that being said, with all of those different lines of services, and 90% of our workforce being volunteers, as you may come to the conclusion, we definitely have a need in many areas. And I am going to highlight some special positions that we actually have available right now that you can take advantage of and, be able to give back in a way that you would like to. One of those areas, and this is a relatively new area, is our biomedical services receiving specialist. Now, I have to say this, that for this particular position, you would need to be able to regularly lift up to 50 pounds because there's a lot of moving and loading from vehicles onto carts, etc. So you should have some, be able to comfortably lift 50 pounds. Punctuality and reliability is an absolute must. This is an absolute crucial role within our blood services center that assists with the receipt and movement of transporters and from loading docks and into the receipt and triage area manufacturing. So you're doing a lot of the main details of getting the blood to and from, those things that most people may not know about. Shifts would be between 3 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and it is flexible. So if you feel like this might be for you, let's just get you in front of the supervisor so that you can have the conversation to see if it's definitely something for you. Next slide, please. Another new area that we have is our histocompatibility and molecular genetics laboratory assistant. Now, don't fret if you've never worked in a laboratory, because one thing about all of our positions, training is provided, but there are some key things that you will want to have for this role. And one of those is administrative skills. You need to be comfortable with computer programs such as Excel and Access, some specialty software. That's definitely a must because you're going to be completing some monthly QA reporting, quality assurance reporting. You have to be comfortable working with people from diverse communities and backgrounds. That's also a must. And you're going to be doing some filing, some archiving, etc. And you are going to be sending out a daily report every day between 3 and 5 p.m. You have to be over 18 to apply for this position, but it is located at our Spring Garden location, which is cool because there's actually parking available there. So you wouldn't have to worry about having a place to park in the city, but we do have a great need in this role. So if that's for you, I'm going to give you some information at the end on how to find out more about that position. Next slide, please. All right. So Disaster Action Team, Philadelphia. So I told you about disaster. We have a need for individuals that want to help individuals that have been impacted by disaster. You have to be able to work in a challenging and stressful environment. That's a must. You have to be okay with working in areas that may have poor air quality, uneven surfaces, every type of weather you can think of, snow, ice, rain, you name it. You should have a valid driver's license as well, and it's very important that you're able to arrive at a scene in a timely and reliable manner. You should also have strong written and verbal communication skills for this particular position. And if you're interested in this, I know that one of the team members in disaster would love to have a conversation with you to talk about it further. Once again, training is provided, so you don't have to worry about ever having any experience in this area. We will be able to train you. Next slide, please. So finally, as I stated, we have some support services and there's virtual opportunities available. So if you are the type of person that says, you know what, I don't want to be face-to-face, I'd rather work from home and serve or give in that way, well, you can absolutely volunteer from home, excuse me. So we have positions such as volunteer recruiter that would assist with actually getting or finding additional volunteers, people that want to serve, and giving them a why behind the Red Cross. We need people that can engage our volunteers, maintain those relationships, and let our volunteers know that they are appreciated. And speaking of appreciation, we definitely need somebody in a recognition and appreciation space to make sure that we let our volunteers know that they are seen, that we appreciate them, and we could not do this without them. Some other areas is volunteer connection volunteer. If you're very strong at computers and they don't scare you like me, that'll be good for you. As well as financial development grant writer. If you have experience in that area with research and documentation relating to grants, we should have that conversation. Next slide, please. So I am so excited to bring to you Tracy Howard. We're going to watch a video very quickly because I had an opportunity to speak with Tracy, and she's going to give you a first-hand account of what it's like to be a volunteer. Marianne, thank you so much for all that you're doing behind the scenes right now. And while Mary Ann is getting that recording going, there we go. While she's getting the recording going, I do want to share that once again, these are not all of the positions that there we go. All right. Hi, Tracy. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to be able to speak with you, and thank you for your willingness to share just about your experience as a volunteer with the Red Cross and what you do here. So with that being said, my first question to you is actually tell the people, what do you do with the Red Cross? What volunteer roles do you serve in? And what do you do in those roles?
I would say that's a loaded question because I do a little bit of just about everything at the Red Cross. I initially started out with working one of the telethons for Hurricane Harvey disaster relief at 10 NBC by gathering a bunch of friends to come there and work the telephones. And then I was asked, would you be interested in doing additional work? Now, and I know from years from watching the Red Cross that they're always there for people in time of need. So I said, oh, sure, I wouldn't mind doing that. And so I went from starting with a donor ambassador. And of course, you greet people and register them during the blood drives. I want to say make sure they're feeling well after they give their donation, and hopefully encouraging them to come back again. And from there, I found out other opportunities, such as working on the Pillowcase Project, which I've done with one of the elementary schools in West Philadelphia, doing Sound the Alarm, coming out to help firefighters when they're installing the smoke detectors for residents that are in need of that. I've also done some of the recruiting events like that you do with the Globetrotters or something down at Wells Fargo. I was asked at one time to be part of the Emoja Network, which tries to increase opportunities for diversity participation in the Red Cross events. And with that, I have organized several blood drives to try to increase minority participation in Philadelphia, as well as Montgomery and Chester County. And one of the jobs I do almost every Monday is I work down at the warehouse as a warehouse assistant, where we put together the canteens and other type of supplies to be ready for blood drives. But I think
that's a lot. We so appreciate.
If I try to think of everything that I've done, it's like, yeah, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. But it's I try to wear a couple of hats and caps.
You're the perfect example of getting the full Red Cross experience. As you shared, you don't have to just serve in one area. You can serve in as many as you choose. So with that being said, why did you choose the Red Cross?
Well, as I mentioned before, I see a lot in the news, again, that Red Cross is there for those who are in stressful situations, whether it's a disaster, a flood, a fire, or some other type of catastrophe. And if I said, I think the feeling of the gratification of helping someone, but I also have a tie to the Red Cross when someone said to help. And I always tell people at some point or another, someone in your family may need blood, whether it's surgery, my friends that have needed because they're cancer patients, my friends whose little babies needed it during their time in the hospital. And so I've lost 3 close friends to sickle cell. And so it kind of, if there's some way for me, again, to increase minority participation in the blood services, that's what I'm here for. I take that challenge.
We definitely thank you for taking that challenge, and thank you for choosing us to actually serve. So I guess because you have served in so many different areas, I know that you have to have at least one touching story or experience as a Red Crosser that you could share with everyone, just to give them that firsthand account of, this is what actually took place one time when I was volunteering. What would that be for you?
I said, really narrowing it down to one. I'm going to say I was blown away to see or to know that there were 2,000 pre-registered people for the WMMR Preston and Steve blood drive. It's an annual blood drive. That just really, if I said it, warmed my heart. It was like, oh, and to see the excitement of the people that they're giving blood. They're like, yes, I'm here to give. They're not apprehensive. I just was like, there's no walk-ins. Okay, now we can take walk-ins. But just to greet people and to see them happy to serve, that just gave me a rush. Yes, I'm here to also make a difference and to welcome them and to thank them. So I think seeing that, knowing that it's possible, there's that many people that are out there ready and willing to give, makes me always want to come back and be a part of the blood drives.
Wow, that's amazing. And that is one of our largest blood drives that we do have. And we get so many wonderful stories from that event. That's amazing. So with that being said, there's several people that's watching this right now, and they may be on the fence. They may say, I don't know. Why should someone volunteer with us? Why should someone choose the Red Cross to serve in a volunteer capacity to help our community?
Well, again, for me, even from the first event that I did, I want to say that you should just get ready to experience the ultimate gratification of working with the public. People go, oh, I've worked with the public. The community. This is our community. And I think we all make it helping each other. And so for me, again, to say what's going to be that ultimate experience, and a good experience, a pleasant experience, I believe that's what the Red Cross gives you in the different facets that you can volunteer in. All of them, down to the fun people at the warehouse. You really do get that great experience. And that saying that they always tell me around Christmas time is, my attitude is gratitude. And I'm just grateful to be able to serve. So I think that's what you look forward to when you're working with the Red Cross.
And I'll tell you what, Tracy, we are grateful that you are with us and that you've chosen us to serve. And I hope that everyone took in everything that you had to say and share and make that decision for themselves, because our family is big and we have room for many more. So yes. Thank you. How awesome. How awesome. I want to briefly introduce you to Tracy, because I know that we are nearing on time. But Tracy, just give us 1 minute, and just share exactly what's on your heart and what you want to share with everyone.
Well, I'd first like to thank you for including me in the presentation and for the time to share my story. I would ask everyone to catch the wave of serving. The American Red Cross has many opportunities for you to share your talents, your gift, and your time. And in return, you get a worthwhile, rewarding experience.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much. So I have to tell everyone, Tracy is amazing. We have so many more amazing people, and we want to add you as well. We need your help. We can't do this alone. And this is our road to volunteering. So we have a full onboarding process. You are never going to be alone. But the very first step is actually completing that application. And you can go to redcross.org/volunteer or just contact me. My contact information is coming soon. And after you do your application, we're going to go ahead and have a conversation. We call it a volunteer screening, but it's essentially a telephone interview and conversation to see what's a good fit for you and what may be a good fit for us as it relates to you. So we have many opportunities, and this is one of those ways in which we help you make a decision on narrowing down those that will be best for you, your time, your talents, and your ability to serve. And then once you're in that role, you're going to meet with your manager, get introduced to your position, receive training that just goes on and on and on, and you are a part of the family. And as such, you are going to have an amazing experience. That's the best way I can sum it up, not just from giving, but also from receiving. Next slide, please. So I have my contact information here. My name is Monica Wiles. I'm the Senior Recruitment Specialist for Philadelphia. And here you can reach me at 267-256-9936 or monica.wiles@redcross.org. I work with an amazing team. There's 2 more recruitment specialists that serve the outer county areas of Bucks, Montgomery, Chester, and Delaware. That's Ned Bloom and Lynn Cohen. Contact me if you want to serve in those areas or live in those areas. I'm going to get you connected to them. We desperately have a need in Chester and Delaware for some blood donor ambassadors, people that can sit at blood drives. So contact me and I'm going to get you in contact with them. I want to leave you with this. Next slide, please. I want to say thank you. And I'm going to leave you with one of Tracy's favorite sayings, which is everybody can serve, or can be great, excuse me, because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. Dr. Martin Luther King said that, and we extend that to you. Please contact me as soon as you can. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you so much. Thank you to our speakers, Monica Wiles and Tracy Howard. You both are phenomenal. And Tracy, what an inspirational story and empowering. Thank you. We also want to say thank you to you all for joining us at our Be the You and Volunteer virtual speaker event. We are excited to have such dedicated volunteers at the Red Cross and to offer opportunities to you to become a Red Cross volunteer. It is volunteers that fuel the Red Cross mission of preventing and alleviating human suffering. So we look forward to you joining us as a volunteer as we continue to make a positive impact in the communities we serve. Again, if you're interested in learning more, please reach out to Monica Wiles at 215-299-4803 or at monica.wiles@redcross.org. We hope you will join us for our future spring 2021 speaker series events. The topics and dates are noted here. Thank you again for your time and have a great night.